Negative thinking isn't a mood, it's mental malware that rewrites choices, shrinks goals, and convinces you the smaller life is safer. If you're stuck, procrastinating, or second-guessing even when the path is clear, that isn't a talent problem, it's a pattern. The cost compounds: missed chances, fading confidence, relationships on pause, days that blur. That changes today. Not with hype or vague affirmations, but with a practical reset you can use right now. Notice the spiral, interrupt it with clear language, and take one small step that creates momentum. This is a straight talk, motivational, empowering session built for action. You'll get simple sentences that cut through noise and micro habits that rebuild trust with yourself. No fluff, no lectures, just tools that work under pressure. Think of this as an operating system update, from autocriticism to accurate thinking, from fear's story to facts and forward motion. Ready to trade rumination for results? Let's begin. Catching negative thinking starts with catching yourself, because the voice never shouts, it whispers. It says, "I always mess this up, they must think I'm foolish, if it isn't perfect it's pointless." Arguing with the voice feeds it. Naming it shrinks it. Quietly label the moment, "My brain is offering a catastrophe story." That sentence creates space between you and the spiral. Now bring the story into daylight with 3 grounding questions. What is the fact? What is the fear? What is the next honest step? Facts anchor reality. Fear is acknowledged but not obeyed. The step returns your body to motion. When the critic speaks in absolutes, choose specifics. Say, "This draft needs 2 fixes," instead of, "This is trash." When you mind read, return to evidence. I don't know what they think until I ask or see it in writing. If the loop keeps replaying, time box it. Give worry 90 seconds, write the worst case once, circle what you control, then schedule one tiny action today. You're training a new habit. Notice, name, narrow, move. Each repetition weakens the story and strengthens you, and that strength is the foundation we'll use to install practical tools that keep progress automatic. Negative thinking cements itself through repetition, so this is where we break the concrete and pour something stronger. The aim is not to win arguments with your mind, it is to give your mind better instructions. Switch from prophecy to probability. When the voice says, "This will go wrong," answer, "My brain is offering a prediction, not a prophecy, let's check the odds." That sentence moves you from doom to data. Now define a clean objective that actually belongs to you. Swap "I should be further along by now" for "I will advance this specific task today." Ownership shrinks overwhelm, and specificity invites action. Begin with language, because words steer attention. Name distortions without shaming yourself: catastrophe story, all or nothing, mind reading, perfection filter. Labels create distance and choice. Then translate the swirl into a 3-part clarity line. Right now I feel anxious, the fact is X, my choice is Y. You are not faking optimism, you are distinguishing feeling from fact, and fact from decision. Add 2 more lines you can borrow whenever inertia bites: 2 minutes beats 0 minutes, and small now, big later. Short phrases cut through fog because they are easy to recall under pressure. Next, create an action container that makes beginning automatic. Tell yourself, "For the next 15 minutes I will work with the door closed to doubt." Set a timer, silence notifications, clear the surface, and perform a 2-minute motion to start the engine. Open the file, title the document, write the first ugly paragraph, sketch the outline boxes. Momentum loves imperfect beginnings. If guilt or fear barges in with bargains, reply, "Not now, I'm busy choosing the next honest step." You are not denying risk, you are sequencing it behind movement. Because negative thinking thrives on vagueness, we answer it with verifiable statements. Turn "I never finish" into "across 30 days I finished 2 tasks and abandoned 3. Today I will finish 1 small deliverable." Track that deliverable somewhere visible. Your mind respects receipts more than promises. When you need a sharper reframe, return to the trilogy: feeling, fact, choice. I feel behind. The fact is I owe a 3-slide update. I choose to draft the headings now. Most spirals subside when they are met with one concrete, observable action. Some spirals are social, not solitary, so we script conversations that usually spike rumination. If a chat drifts into repetitive problem loops, say, "I'm not available for loops, let's shift to decisions." If a colleague invites catastrophe, answer, "Before we imagine futures, let's list what we control by Friday." If a friend wants you to mind read, choose evidence. "I don't know what they think until I ask or see it in writing." Redirecting talk into tasks is not cold, it is respectful to the team and to your nervous system. Perfectionism deserves its own antidote. Make a rule in plain language: first passes are supposed to be flawed. Whisper it when your hand hesitates. Now build a goal ladder with 3 rungs: floor, stairs, ceiling. The floor is comically easy, like 5 bullet notes. The stairs are respectable, like a complete draft. The ceiling is ambitious, like a polished submission. Begin at the floor and record completion immediately. The record matters more than the rush, because consistent evidence rewires beliefs more reliably than pep talks. When the mind insists collapse is imminent, run a micro premortem to calm the alarms. Ask, if this slipped, what single safeguard would prevent the worst? Set that safeguard now: an early check-in, a calendar buffer, or written confirmation, a second set of eyes. Suddenly fear has a job and you have fewer reasons to stall. For recurring worries, assemble a personal page of counters, 1-line replies you trust, written in your own voice. I can do small now and big later. 2 minutes beats 0 minutes. Done for today is enough for today. Practice them out loud until they feel native. Close each workday before your doubts can reopen it. Write 3 receipts: 1 thing you shipped, 1 thing you learned, 1 boundary you held. Put tomorrow's first action on a sticky note you will see before your phone. Then sign off with a line of respect: I kept faith with the work. Discipline feels gentler when it is framed as self-respect rather than self-attack. You are not trying to silence your mind, you are teaching it how to help. These tools work because they translate feelings into choices, choices into movement, and movement into proof your brain can trust. Keep the phrases where you can reach them, keep the receipts where you can see them, and keep your sessions short enough to win. With the loop replaced by a path, we can now turn toward building a daily system that makes progress automatic even on difficult days. Today, you don't escape negative thinking by winning a debate, you escape by changing what your day makes inevitable. Start with an interrupter you can use anywhere. When the spiral begins, say, pause. My brain is predicting, not proving. Let the line land, then place your attention on one concrete surface, the breath in your nose, your feet on the floor, the shape of the next task. The point isn't relaxation, it's repositioning the driver's seat from fear to choice. Once you have that inch of space, claim another with a decision you can execute inside 2 minutes. Open the document. Draft the subject line. Put the shoes by the door. Momentum favors the mover, not the thinker. Your calendar becomes a workshop, not a museum of intentions, when you build a daily win corridor. Block one 90-minute session for work that matters and one 10-minute session for maintenance that prevents chaos. In the long block, you start ugly and stay specific. Whisper, first passes are supposed to be flawed, then write a crooked paragraph or sketch a rough outline. In the short block, you set tomorrow's floor, the tiniest step that would count as progress even on a tired day. When your mind pushes for drama, return to the corridor and remind it that small now beats big never. Language is a tool, so carry lines that move reality, not just mood. When a family conversation turns to triangulation, say, "I only discuss this with the person involved, I'll loop them in before I respond." When a colleague slides scope onto your plate, answer, "That isn't on my sprint, here's what I can deliver by Friday." When a friend invites catastrophe, steer the frame, "Before we imagine futures, let's list what we control by the end of today." If someone tugs you toward mind reading, anchor to evidence, "I won't assume, I'll check when it's in writing." These sentences are not attitude, they are guardrails that keep your energy from spilling into ditches. Make worry earn its keep. If a fear loops, give it a 90-second window on paper. Write the worst case, circle what you can influence in the next 24 hours, and schedule a single safeguard now. That might be an early check-in, a reply-all summary, a reminder on your phone, or a second set of eyes. Fear calms when it gets a job. Perfectionism calms when it gets a ladder. Build 3 rungs for any goal: floor, stairs, ceiling. The floor is embarrassingly easy: 5 bullet notes, 2 slides with headings, 1 email draft that only you will see. The stairs are respectable, a serviceable draft. The ceiling is polished, submission ready. You climb only as high as today allows and you count the rung you reached. Because the mind respects proof more than promises, keep a daily receipt. At the end of your work window, write 3 short lines: what you shipped, what you learned, and what boundary you held. If you missed, note the miss without drama and put the next floor task on a sticky note where your eyes will meet it before your phone. This is not journaling for sentiment, it is bookkeeping for confidence. Over days, the stack of receipts becomes an argument your inner critic cannot win. Protect the corridor with a simple silence protocol. When emotion runs hot, delay by saying, "I'll answer after I check the facts." When a request doesn't fit, decline with, "I'm not available for that," and stop before the essay begins. When stories start to drift, document, "I'll send a brief summary so we're on the same page." Delay buys time for accuracy, decline preserves your lane, and document creates a trail your future self can trust. You are teaching your world how to meet you, and your nervous system how to trust you. End each day on purpose. Close the loop by tidying your workspace for 2 minutes, setting tomorrow's floor, and telling yourself, "I kept faith with the work." The statement isn't boastful, it's a cue for the brain to stand down. Sleep will do more for your motivation than another hour of anxious effort. In the morning, you won't negotiate with mood, you'll execute the floor and let motion pull you forward. With interrupters that give you space, scripts that hold your edges, and tiny wins that prove you're moving, your days become containers where negative thinking has nowhere to grow. Next, we'll convert these tools into a weekly system that sustains momentum and protects your progress when life gets loud. You escape negative thinking long-term by installing a week that keeps you moving when mood doesn't. Treat it like an operating rhythm, simple beats that repeat until progress becomes the default. Start with a brief Sunday or Monday reset. Open your calendar and allocate 3 buckets: creation, admin, people. Creation holds the work that moves life forward, so give it your best 90-minute blocks. Admin absorbs the maintenance that keeps chaos from spreading. People includes meetings, family logistics, and social energy, because conversations consume fuel. When you budget these buckets on purpose, your attention stops leaking into whatever shouts loudest and begins flowing toward what matters. Set your daily floor in advance, a tiny, finishable step you can complete even on a tired day. Write it where your eyes land before your phone. The floor is a promise to yourself, everything above it is bonus. On mornings when motivation runs thin, execute the floor without debate, because decisions drain willpower and movement refuels it. Close every day with 3 receipts: what you shipped, what you learned, and the boundary you held, so tomorrow's brain is proof it can trust you. The receipts matter more than mood, they are your quiet scoreboard when the inner critic gets loud. Protect momentum with 2 corridors. The first is a protected 90-minute creation window. Enter it with a boot sequence, clear the surface, silence notifications, open the file, and write the first flawed paragraph. Whisper, first passes are supposed to be flawed, and keep typing. The second corridor is a short maintenance window where you stage tomorrow's floor, confirm appointments, and send one small message that reduces uncertainty. When the week gets noisy, you still have 2 corridors that keep the wheels turning even while motivation wobbles. Because people and platforms leak energy, install the silence protocol at the weekly level. Delay when emotion runs hot by saying, "I'll answer after I check the facts." Decline what doesn't fit with, "I'm not available for that," and stop before the essay. Document anything slippery. "I'll send a short summary so we're on the same page." Those 3 lines, delay, decline, document, are guardrails that prevent your calendar from becoming a public park and your mind from becoming a public forum. Now create buffers that absorb shock. Leave white space around big deliverables and put a midweek course correction on the calendar. In that 10-minute check-in, ask 3 questions. What mattered that I moved? What blocked me? And what is the smallest decisive step now? Move one block out of the way immediately, request a missing document, schedule a quick call, or write a 2-line update that resets expectations. Anxiety shrinks when reality gets a timestamp, and relief grows when plans get a simple next step. Your week also needs a receipt stack visible at a glance. Use a simple page or board with 3 columns: shipped, helped, protected. At day's end, drop 1 line into each. Shipped is anything finished or advanced. Helped is a small kindness or contribution you offered. Protected is the boundary you enforced, even if it was just saying no to a late meeting. Over time, that page becomes quiet proof that you are someone who follows through, evidence heavy enough to outweigh the inner narrator who insists you never do. Expect friction and plan for storms. A storm week is when sleep, illness, travel, or drama compresses your bandwidth. The storm protocol is minimal: keep the floor, keep 1 corridor, and keep the receipts. Everything else can shrink without guilt. Tell people what is true: my capacity is reduced this week, here's what I can deliver by Friday, I will revisit the rest Monday. That message is honest, specific, and non-apologetic. It protects trust while protecting you, and it keeps the story out of your head and in the calendar where it belongs. Relationships require their own scripts. When family pulls you into triangulation, say, "I only discuss this with the person involved, I'll loop them in before I respond." If a friend invites catastrophe spirals, answer, "Before we imagine futures, let's list what we control by today's end." If a colleague tries to expand scope midweek, reply, "That isn't on my sprint, here's what I can deliver by Friday." To reset fragile agreements, send a reply all recap, "Here's what we decided, who owns what, and by when." These lines are not attitude, they are maintenance for your bounds and fuel. Make the system easy to start and hard to break. Keep your tools in reach, a single notebook, a timer, headphones, and a sticky note for the floor. Tie the boot sequence to a cue, same mug, same seat, same playlist, so your brain learns the ritual means start. Reward completion with a small, consistent treat, a walk, a stretch, a coffee you enjoy. Motivation grows when the body associates work with safety, completion, and relief rather than panic, shame, or endless bargaining. Give your goals ladders that fit real life. For every important outcome, set a floor, stairs, and ceiling. The floor is embarrassingly easy, 5 bullets, 1 paragraph, 2 slides with headings. The stairs are respectable, a serviceable draft you could show. The ceiling is polished, submission ready and presentable. You climb only as high as today allows, and you count the rung you reached. Counting matters, the brain updates identity from evidence, not intention, and a counted rung is a promise kept in public. Handle setbacks with a calm reset, not a confession. If you miss a block, you haven't failed, you learned your buffer was small. Reschedule the work, remove one friction, and write the new floor in bold. If you break a boundary, restore it with a shorter sentence next time. "I'm not available for that" is strong enough. If a worry keeps knocking, give it a 90-second page to speak, circle what you can influence in the next 24 hours, and schedule one safeguard now. Fear comes when it has a job and a clock. Close the week on purpose. Spend 10 quiet minutes reviewing your receipt stack. Circle one win you want more of, one friction you can remove, and one boundary you will phrase more simply next time. Place next week's creation blocks first, schedule a midweek course correction, and write Monday's floor on a card you cannot miss. Then power down. You did not fix your mind by force, you redesign the week so that progress survives mood. With a rhythm that respects energy and reality, negative thinking has nowhere to nest, and momentum becomes the environment you live in. Momentum doesn't vanish because you forgot how to think, it slips when life gets loud and the old circuitry senses a chance to retake the wheel. Relapse isn't failure, it's friction telling you where to add structure. Start by naming the 2 kinds of setbacks, storms and slides. A storm is an external squeeze, travel, illness, crisis, that compresses your bandwidth. A slide is the slow return of habits you've already outgrown, doom scrolling, over-explaining, asking permission to move. The fix for both is the same principle with different sizes: keep the floor, keep one corridor, keep the receipts. When a week goes sideways, you do not negotiate your identity, you protect the minimum that keeps it alive. Treat storms with honesty, not heroics. Say, "My capacity is reduced this week, here's what I can deliver by Friday, I'll revisit the rest Monday." That single message turns panic into plan and pulls you out of mind reading. In families, when tension tries to recruit you into old roles, answer, "I only discuss this with the person involved, I'll loop them in before I respond." In the workplace, when scope creeps while you're underwater, reply, "That isn't on my sprint, here's what I can commit to now." The goal isn't to win arguments, it's to keep your energy from leaking while the weather passes. Slides ask for gentler tools. When you notice the return of "I always mess this up," don't debate it, observe, "My brain is offering a prophecy." Then switch to probability. What's the simple step with the highest chance of moving this forward today? If perfectionism wakes up, whisper, "First passes are supposed to be flawed," and write the crooked paragraph that gets you unstuck. If worry loops, give it 90 seconds on paper, circle what you actually influence in the next 24 hours, and schedule one safeguard now. Fear calms when it has a job and a clock. You calm when your calendar holds the next action in public. Pressure tests help you see where your system cracks so you can reinforce it. Run 3 quick tests this week. Test 1, the morning mood test. On a day you wake heavy, execute your floor before coffee or phone. If you can't, your floor is too big, shrink it until it's unmissable. Test 2, the interruption test. Mid-block, a message arrives. Instead of reacting, type, "I'll reply at 2 p.m. after I check the facts," then finish the sentence you're on. If you can't hold the line, add friction, full screen, do not disturb, headphones, and a visible timer. Test 3, the ownership test. End a meeting by sending a 2-line recap. Here's what we decided, who owns what, by when. If that feels awkward, you've found a place where ambiguity has been breeding anxiety. Clarity is kinder than mind reading. Identity is the deepest relapse proof. Negative thinking thrives when you secretly believe you're the person who never finishes. You change that belief with evidence you can't argue with. Keep the receipt stack, shipped, helped, protected, where your eyes hit it daily. Circle one line each night and say, "I kept faith with the work." It's simple, almost plain, and that's why it works. Your brain updates identity from repeated proof, not from speeches. Over weeks, the sentence becomes true because you acted as if it were, and the old loop finds nowhere to attach. Community makes the system durable. Choose one accountability partner who speaks in specifics, not drama. Trade receipts on Fridays, 1 thing shipped, 1 boundary held, 1 friction removed. If a friend spirals into catastrophe, you don't climb into the hole, you lower a ladder. Before we imagine futures, what's the next honest step today? If they triangulate, you move to daylight, loop them in before we discuss. You're not being cold, you're protecting both of you from stories that hurt and never help. Your body is part of the operating system. Exhaustion masquerades as failure, and a tired brain tells convincing lies. Guard the basics without turning life into a wellness obstacle course. Tie your boot sequence to 3 low-effort anchors: water, light movement, natural light. Walk 5 minutes outside before you open a screen. Stretch your hands and shoulders before you type. Put a glass of water between you and your first decision. None of this is performative, it's mechanical. Better blood and breath equals better choices, and better choices equal fewer spirals to fight. When shame knocks, answer with proportion, not punishment. If you broke a boundary, restore it with a shorter sentence next time: "I'm not available for that." If you missed 3 days, you didn't break your streak, you discovered how thin your buffer is. Add white space around your next deliverable and set a midweek course correction. The question isn't "why did I fail?" It's "where does the system need reinforcement so I don't have to be perfect to make progress?" Systems beat moods because they make doing the right thing easier than doing the familiar thing. Close each week with a quiet audit that respects the truth without dramatizing it. Look at your calendar and your receipts. Circle a win you want more of, a friction you can remove, and a boundary you'll phrase more simply. Write Monday's floor on a card you can't miss and power down on purpose. You are not outrunning negative thoughts, you are redesigning your days so they have nowhere to multiply. That's resilience, not toughness, but architecture. With your relapse plan installed, the only thing left is to lock in a clean finish, a simple challenge for the next 24 hours, a line in the sand you can step over today. You don't need a new identity to begin, you need one action that proves the next one is possible. For the next 24 hours, Make the smallest promise that meaningfully moves your life and keep it in public. Write a floor you can finish in 10 minutes. Put it where your eyes land before your phone. When morning arrives, execute before you negotiate. If resistance speaks, answer, 2 minutes beats 0 minutes, and begin. You're not seeking inspiration, you're installing proof. Pick one boundary sentence and use it once this week. It can be as simple as, "I'm not available for that," or "I only discuss this with the person involved, I'll loop them in." Notice how your body settles when your words carry your edges. Then send one reply all recap somewhere in your world. "Here's what we decided, who owns what, by when." Documentation is compassion for your future self. It silences the part of your mind that survives on ambiguity. At day's end, write 3 receipts: what you shipped, what you learned, and what you protected. If you missed, don't perform guilt. Adjust the floor, add a buffer, and try again tomorrow. This isn't a moral test, it's a practice that builds trust. Keep the phrases nearby. First passes are supposed to be flawed. My brain is predicting, not proving. Small now beats big never. They are handles. Grip one when the path feels slippery. If this work helps, commit to 1 week of the operating rhythm: creation corridor, maintenance corridor, silence protocol, receipt stack. 7 days is enough to feel the shift from argument to action. Negative thinking will still knock, but you'll answer with structure, not stories. You are not fixing yourself, you are supporting the self you chose. And that choice, repeated in tiny, visible ways, is how a better life stops being a wish and becomes a week, then a month, then a way you move through the world. Now write your floor, say your line, and start.